on a limb. The arms may be bound to the sides or behind the back. Bind a wreath about, around, or round the head. Twigs are bound in or into faggots. For military purposes, they are bound at both ends and in the middle. One is bound by a contract or bound under a penalty to fulfill a contract. Bitter. Synonyms: acerb, acidus, acid, acidulated, acidulous, acrid, acrimonious, biting, caustic, cutting, harsh, irate, pungent, savage, sharp, sour, stinging, tart, bingarish, virulent. Acid, sour, and bitter agree in being contrasted with sweet, but the two former are sharply distinguished from the latter. Acid or sour is the taste of vinegar or lemon juice, bitter that of quassia, quinine, or strychnine. Acrid is nearly allied to bitter. Pungent suggests the effect of pepper or snuff on the organs of taste or smell, as a pungent odor. Caustic indicates the corroding effect of some strong chemical, as nitrate or sulfur. In a figurative sense, as applied to language or character, these words are very closely allied. We say a sour face, sharp words, bitter complaints, caustic wit, cutting irony, biting sarcasm, a stinging taunt, harsh judgment, a tart reply. Harsh carries the idea of intentional and severe unkindness, bitter of a severity that arises from real or supposed ill treatment. The bitter speech springs from the sore heart. Tart and sharp utterances may not proceed from an intention to wound, but merely from a wit recklessly keen. Cutting, stinging, and biting speech indicates more or less of hostile intent, the latter being the more deeply malicious. The caustic utterance is meant to burn, perhaps wholesomely, as in the satire of Juvenal or Cervantes. Compare morose. Antonyms: dulcet, honeyed, luscious, nectared, saccharine, sweet. Bleach, verb. Synonyms: blanch, make white, whiten, whitewash. To whiten is to make white in general, but commonly it means to overspread with white coloring matter. Bleach and blanch both signify to whiten by depriving of color, the former permanently, as linen; the latter either permanently, as to blanch celery, or temporarily, as to blanch the cheek with fear. To whitewash is to whiten superficially, especially by false approval. Antonyms: blacken, color, darken, dye, soil, stain. Blemish. Synonyms: blot, blur, brand, crack, dove, defacement, defect, deformity, dent, disfigurement, disgrace, dishonor, fault, flaw, imperfection, injury, reproach, smirch, soil, speck, spot, stain, stigma, taint, tarnish. Whatever mars the beauty or completeness of an object is a blemish, whether original, as squinting eyes, or the result of accident or disease, etc., as the pits of smallpox. A blemish is superficial. A flaw or taint is in structure or substance. In the moral sense, we speak of a blot or stain upon reputation, a flaw or taint in character. A defect is the want or lack of something. Fault, primarily a failing, is something that fails of an apparent intent or disappoints a natural expectation. Thus, a sudden dislocation or displacement of geological strata is called a fault. Figuratively, a blemish comes from one's own ill-doing. A brand or stigma is inflicted by others, as the brand of infamy. Blow. Synonyms: box, buffet, calamity, concussion, cuff, cut, disaster, knock, lash, misfortune, rap, shock, stripe, stroke, thump. A blow is a sudden impact, as of a fist or a club. A stroke is a sweeping movement, as the stroke of a sword, of an oar, of the arm in swimming. A shock is the sudden encounter with some heavy body, as colliding railway trains meet with a shock, the shock of battle. A slap is given with the open hand, a lash with a whip, tongue, or the like. We speak also of the cut of a whip. A buffet or cuff is given only with the hand, a blow either with hand or weapon. A cuff is a somewhat sidelong blow, generally with the open hand, as a cuff or box on the ear. A stripe is the effect or mark of a stroke. In the metaphorical sense, blow is used for sudden, stunning, staggering calamity or sorrow, the stroke for sweeping disaster, and also for sweeping achievement and success. We say a stroke of paralysis or a stroke of genius. We speak of the buffets of adverse fortune. Shock is used of that which is at once sudden, violent, and prostrating. We speak of a shock of electricity, the shock of an amputation, a shock of surprise. Compare beat. Bluff. Abrupt, blunt, blustering, bold, brusque, coarse, discourteous, frank, impolite, inconsiderate, open, plain-spoken, rough, rude, uncivil, unmannerly. Bluff is a word of good meaning, as are frank and open. The bluff man talks and laughs loudly and freely, says and does whatever he pleases with fearless good nature, and with no thought of annoying or giving pain to others. The blunt man says things which he is perfectly aware are disagreeable, either from a defiant indifference to others' feelings or from the pleasure of tormenting. Antonyms: bland, courteous, genial, polished, polite, refined, reserved, urbane. End of section 13.